Jake! Go Cookie! Go! Up the Rabbitohs!
G'day guys and welcome back to Ados the Great YouTube channel. So guys, in today's video, I'll be going through how I went in round 27, the final round of the 2025 NRL season, and then I'll be giving you my finals week 1 tips, the qualifying and the elimination finals tips. But before we get into this one guys, hit that like button, hit that sub button. It'd mean the absolute world to me if you could take 2 seconds out of your day to do that. Make my heart flutter, I tell you that much. Alright, but yeah, without further ado, let's jump into it. Also, this is going to be the first video you've seen probably for a long time with me not wearing a cap. Now, I always wear caps. Every time I do a recording, I always wear a cap. But I've just recently had surgery. I don't know if you can see there, but I've got stitches up in around there due to having to have a cyst cut out of my head. It was just a bit bigger than a blueberry. It was a wild bloody surgery, that's for sure. But nonetheless, it's gone now. So I've still got a few I've got to get rid of on the backs of my head. But yeah, that's why I'm not wearing a cap at the moment. Got to wait for it to heal. But yeah, super excited to jump in and do this one. Again, guys, hit that like button, hit that sub button. All right, so back in the Storm to beat the Broncos. Jerome Hughes got injured pretty early in that game, which did sour this one a little bit, but the Broncos were the better team on the day. Much better, to be fair. They get the job done, we get the first tip wrong. I backed in Manly to beat the Warriors, and thanks to Adali Cherry Evans' field goal in his final game for the Sea Eagles, Manly get the job done 27-26. I then backed in the Rabbitohs to beat the Roosters by 14 points. Obviously, this one did not occur. Roosters were way too good in this one. Look, I had faith that we could get the job done. And look, the first half was good. It was 6 points to 10. We looked red hot. Cam Murray had an extraordinary good stint. Then they took him off for the rest of the second half, and the game just got away from us. The sin bin to Jamie Humphries didn't help. But as I said on my TikTok account, I agree that it should have been a sin bin. I know there's a lot of Rabbitohs fans that whinge about that one, but man, swallow your pride. Don't be biased. That was absolutely a sin bin. All right, the next game, I backed in the Panthers to beat the Dragons. Massive win here for the Panthers. A good win too coming into finals. So they're putting in some good form coming in there. And last week they rested most of their players. So yeah, really strong win here over the Dragons. Titans and the Tigers. I backed in the Titans here. I thought they'd be up for this one. They thought they'd want to avoid the spoon, and they get the job done here with a 36-28 point win. Tigers were up 28-18, I believe it was at one point, and the Titans stormed back and got the job done. So strong win there for the Titans. Backed in the Sharkies to beat the Bulldogs. We nailed that one. Good win there for the Sharks. I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch this one. Yeah, I was busy on Saturday night, so yeah, missed this game. But by all reports, the Sharks were just dominant in this one. Bulldogs did lose about 3 or 4 players at stages in this game. So, look, Sharks, they were dominant. Bulldogs should have rested players. That's how I see that one. All right, a couple of massive wins to end the weekend. So, 88 points scored in this first game. Dolphins winning 62-24. We tick that one off. To be fair, the Raiders did rest most of their squad, to be honest. And then I backed in the Eels to beat the Knights. Another one that was an absolute flogging. 66 points to 10. Crazy stuff. Good way to end the weekend. Very entertaining footy on Sunday. Lots of tries scored. I don't mind that. I prefer tight defensive games, but it is always fun to see a try fest. So a couple of good ones to end the weekend. Alrighty, Roo. So that was 6 from 8 to end the season. I think that's 2 weeks in a row where we've gone 6 from 8. So, look, it wasn't a great season for us tipping wise, but to end the season 6 from 8, I'm actually pretty happy with that, to be honest. So I'll take that. But yeah, before we get into the finals predictions or tips, I should say, please, guys, hit that like button, hit that sub button, and I'll see you in the final screen. Righto guys, so we are going to be using the ladder predictor to finish off our season tipping. Obviously there's no NRL.com tipping for finals, so we're using this one. I'm very excited to share with you my predictions here, and also tomorrow morning I've got my full finals predictions dropping for you guys. I think that drops about 9 a.m. tomorrow, so excited for you guys to check that one out. But for finals week 1, let's get into it with the first qualifying final between the Raiders and the Broncos. I'm super pumped about this one. I actually think this final series is going to be the best final series we have seen in a while. Raiders and Broncos over in Canberra. Should be a cracking game. Broncos actually don't have the worst record against the Raiders in Canberra. Recently, it has sided the way more of Canberra than the Broncos over there. But yeah, this game definitely could go either way in my opinion. I'm going to give you a winner, a margin, like 1 to 12, and a anytime try scorer from both clubs as well for each of these tips. So before I give you that one, guys, hit that like button, hit that sub button. So I'm obviously tipping the Raiders here. I do think they will be too good. They've rested most of their players, so realistically they've had a week off. Some players played, but they played limited minutes as well from their first grade side. Broncos should see Adam Reynolds come back, potentially Selwyn and Ezra Mam as well, but at the very least Adam should return. So yeah, I do think that this is a game that could go either way, but I'm pretty confident the Raiders get the job done. All right, the first elimination final, we've got the Sharks taking on the Sydney Roosters. Now again, should be another cracking game of football. It's normally pretty good when these two teams meet. I feel like they meet in finals like every year, which is crazy to say, like insane. But yeah, the Sharkies come into this one. I would say that they probably will be favourites, but I actually don't think they should be. Losing Cam McInnes is like losing the heart of the team. And I do think that it will be a struggle for them in finals. If they do get through this first week, I do think they'll probably lose next week. With the Roosters, they're looking really good at the moment. They're coming into finals with bloody good momentum. Their consistency has been a little bit of a problem this year, but they're finding their form at the right time. Look, they've got to play 4 weeks of good football. Do I think they have that in them? No, I don't, realistically. But I do think they can get through the first week of finals. So I am going to tip the Roosters. I just think the momentum they've got coming into finals is going to be enough to get the job done against the Sharks. I'll give you my margin at the end of the video so I can get through this. But no, I think that the Roosters will be too good here. I think they will beat the Sharkies there. Cam McInnes is just a massive loss, in my honest opinion. Right, next up, we've got the Warriors taking on the Panthers. Now, when these two teams meet, Panthers actually have a better record over in New Zealand than the Warriors do against the Panthers. So, with that, look, realistically, the Panthers finishing 7th, I think it's unfair on the Warriors that they've got to play this side, because I generally do not see a world where the Warriors beat the Panthers, and I think the Panthers will probably be around that $1.60 favourite to win this one. I think they're going to be way too good for the Wars in this one, so I am going to be backing in the Panthers. If Luke Metcalf was there and the Warriors had less injury concerns, I would definitely be more tempted to side with the Warriors, but I just think the Panthers will be too good there. I think they'll move on. All right, and then to wrap up finals week 1, we've got the Storm taking on the Bulldogs. Bulldogs actually don't have a bad record in Melbourne, but it's not great either. And recently, I believe Melbourne have been a lot better when playing the Bulldogs in Melbourne. With that being said, Melbourne is nearly unstoppable. Nearly unstoppable. They have struggled a bit late in the season, but look, the Bulldogs, they've got a lot going against them as well. Losing Marcelo Montoya, Bronson Cherry, both of those players will likely be out for a long period of time. You've also had Matt Burton and Viliami Kikau go down as well. I think they'll be right this week. I'm not entirely sure, but Storm also have their injury concerns as well. So both sides do have injury concerns. Husey probably won't play a finals game. But Ryan Pappenhausen should be back after this week, I believe. So you're probably going to have Nick Meaney or Suafea-Longo cover at fullback. And then the halfback, you probably would say Jonah Pizzette comes in and Wishy comes off the bench like usual. That's sort of what I think the Storm will do here. They do welcome back Harry Grant too, which is a massive inclusion. Look, I would love to see the Bulldogs pull off an upset here. I just can't see it happening. I think Storm win, and I think they get a good win here. So Storm are the winners for me in the last game of finals week 1. So my tips: Raiders win 1-12, and I'm going to say I'm going to go with. I reckon Jamal Fogarty scores in this one. I don't want to go wingers or fullbacks in these. I want to go something a bit niche. So Raiders 1-12, Jamal Fogarty anytime try scorer. Next game, Roosters Sharks. Obviously back in the Roosters here. I'm going to say another 1-12 margin. I'm going to go with Bobby Toia to score anytime. So a centre in that one. I think the ball does go down Toia's and the Wanganitawase's end a lot, and I think Bobby Toia benefits off that, so I'm going Bobby Toia. All right, the Panthers and Warriors. I can't remember exactly how much I said the Panthers would win by in my finals prediction video, which drops tomorrow. Make sure you check that one out. Hit that sub button now so you don't miss out. I'm obviously backing in the Panthers. I do think they win this one 13+, so if I didn't say that in the other video, I'm changing it. I think the Panthers will be dominant in this game, and I think they will get a big win over the Warriors there. Anytime try scorer in this one, I'm actually going to go Blaze Talangi. I think he crosses for a try in this one. So Panthers way too good in this one. 13+ win, and Blaze Talangi anytime try scorer. And then to wrap up the weekend, I've got Storm winning. I'm going to say a 1-12 margin. I do think the Bulldogs can keep it relatively close, but I do think Harry Grant crosses anytime in that one. So they're my tips for finals week 1. Let me know your tips down below in the comments, guys. Again, hit that like button, hit that sub button, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.